There was kind of a request for this song, and it's a song that I don't know why I haven't played it in like 10 years. These things happen. Basically, this song was on a record. We'll talk about that in a second, or I will talk about it, and you guys will be like, oh, fuck. And then I made another record, and as I was starting to make that record, I started to play those songs, and then I made that record, and then I played those songs, and then this one just kind of fell by the wayside as a, perhaps I played it too much in the 6 to 8 years I spent touring for. Basically I do the Bob Dylan thing, which is I'm always on tour pretty much. Doesn't matter when the records come out. I just kind of keep on trucking. But you can understand what I say. In theory. The words are words. And I was in the yeah. So, one nice thing about this song that has nothing to do with its author is that I got to record this tune. I basically thought that this song should start with a piano intro, and the reason I thought that was not because it should start with a piano intro, because you can start a song with whatever you want, or whatever you want, just let me know. But that I had this really great piano player that I've been dying to work with. I found out that this gentleman, who's now passed away sadly, who had been one of the greatest session musicians of all time, was living not too far from Seattle, maybe a couple hours by car, an hour by plane. He moved there to get out of LA, probably, I would, if I had to hazard a guess, have a slightly cleaner lifestyle, might have been one of it, and also it was the desert where he moved to, and his wife had some health issues that living in the desert suited her, and though you might be right to wonder if the guy was from LA, why didn't they just move to the LA desert? Well, she was from Washington State, that's why. Okay. Well, first they moved to the woods up near where I grew up, in this little town north of Seattle, almost in Canada, and it was too wet for her. It's probably too wet for anybody. I don't really know why anybody lives there, actually, but then they said, well, the desert, and they moved. There's a kind of a compromise that they decided to blend the California climate with the Washington locale, and there they were, and he was just sitting around collecting royalty checks and playing at the fucking Holiday Inn in Yakima, Washington. I'm not making this up. So this guy's name, well, it is his name, but he is now kind of a was, because he's not living. His name was Larry Knechtel, and he played on pretty much everything you've ever heard from the States that came out from like 1962 until he died, basically. I mean, this guy just never, he's so good, that's the thing, he's so good. I have to talk about him a little bit because he was such an amazing dude. There was, a cadre of people like him working in LA and playing on everything, and these guys would make like an album a day, basically. That's how they did things back then, because they were that freaking good. I mean, you've probably seen, maybe there's a documentary about the guys in the Wrecking Crew, you've probably heard of all this kind of stuff. And he's one of those guys. So, his biggest claim to fame is that he played on Bridge Over Troubled Water, and he arranged that whole thing, the way that he kind of produced the song, in a sense, and he won a Grammy for that, blah, blah, blah. But if you hear a 60s song on the radio, Larry probably played on it, or a 70s song. And then later he played with Elvis Costello, and he played with the Dixie Chicks, and he just couldn't do anything. So I was dying to get this guy on a record, so I sent him, this was like in 2003, so there wasn't quite the same file sharing capability. Certainly he didn't have that. So I mailed him, I got his number, because a friend of mine in my hometown had worked with his son on a record. And so by that path, I got the number, and I called him up, and he said, yeah, sure, send me a song, send me a CD. Okay, so I made a demo of this song and sent it. And it's not a very challenging song musically. I knew it was well within his wheelhouse. But he's right. But he called me back, and he's like, what the hell is a bayonet tree? fuck is that? And I'm like, oh, well, it's open to interpretation, Larry. I don't know. But anyway, it was very cool. It was great to work with. And if you ever get a chance, my record, of course, is not on Spotify because can't remember why. I misplaced something somewhere. But it's probably on YouTube. Is it on YouTube? I don't know. You don't know.
Nope.
You don't. You're supposed to know these things. You're my chronicler. Thanks for chronicling Riddick for me, by the way. I felt Riddick really needed chronicling, and I think he did an excellent job. He played the song, it's one of those things where, yeah, and then he just played it in one take and blah, blah, blah. It's one of those dudes. So I'm going to do a shitty version of Larry's piano playing, so actually it's not even going to be Larry's piano playing, but normally I used to play this on guitar, and will I still remember the words that you showed me on your phone?
Do you want my phone?
No. Thank you.
Take the baby's cane away, hide his little braces, left to his devices, he still wants that rocky road. Feed him all your fables and your periodic tables. Fabulous, fatalist is what he wants to be. But you drew the poison from me, picked me off the bayonet tree, pulled me like a tooth that kept your nights from finding sleep. Moved into a bungalow, disconnect the phone line. Hello Grace, it's been a while, your footsteps can go unnoticed. That's not to say that you weren't missed, but I guess you weren't invited. I never lacked for company, it's for care that I was wanting. But you drew the poison from me, picked me off the bayonet tree, pulled me like a snaggled little loose tooth. It's these late admissions that are driving me from sleep. I admit that I admire admiration's name, but if you come back to my senses, I won't try to reason with you. Knowledge gained is knowledge used, it never works out different. But you drew the poison from me, picked me off the bayonet tree, pulled me like a snaggled little loose tooth. And you drew the poison from me, picked me off the bayonet tree, pulled me like a snaggled